My grandmother always said that every person is born with a shadow that isn't their own. She called it the Nahual, the other self that walks when we sleep. I never believed her, not really, until the summer I returned to her village. The town was tiny, wrapped in endless maize fields and low, slumbering mountains. It was the kind of place where time seemed to slow down. But at night, things changed. The dogs would howl for no reason, a frantic, desperate sound. And the elders, without fail, closed their doors before the old church bell finished its seventh ring. "Don't answer whistles after dark," my grandmother warned me on my first night back. "Not even if they sound human," I just laughed. I was a city kid, studying at the university, armed with modern answers and a certainty that old stories were only that stories. I couldn't have been more wrong. The first whistle came 3 nights later. It drifted from the cornfields behind the house, a thin, almost playful sound, like someone calling a friend across a distance. I was curious, so I stepped onto the porch. All I saw were the rows of corn, swaying in the wind like a green ocean. Then the sound came again, closer this time, sharp and clear. Before I could even think to answer, my grandmother grabbed my arm and pulled me back inside. Her face was pale. Without a word, she scattered a line of coarse salt across the doorway. "That is not for you," she said, her voice tight. The next day, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. I went to find Don Mateo, the oldest man in the village, hoping for a logical explanation. I asked him about the Nahual. He didn't look at me. Instead, he stared at the distant mountains as if counting memories etched into their peaks. "Some are guardians," he finally said, his voice raspy with age. "Others ... Others forget they were once human." That evening, my skepticism began to truly crumble. Near the old well, I found footprints pressed into the damp earth. They looked like a dog's at first glance, but they were too long, too narrow. And the claws. They were almost like fingers, digging deep into the mud. The whistles became a nightly ritual after that. Sometimes they would circle the house, a restless, searching sound. Other nights I'd hear them from the roof, right above my head. And once, a sound so clear it froze my blood, it came from inside the empty room where my grandfather had passed away. My sleep became a new kind of waking. I started having these vivid dreams of walking through the maize fields under a moon that was far too large for the sky. In the dream, a black animal padded silently beside me. It was neither dog nor man, a creature of pure shadow. Every time I tried to look at its face, the dream would shatter like a dropped mirror, and I'd wake up, heart pounding. My grandmother noticed the dark circles under my eyes. She'd watch me with a sad, knowing look. "It has chosen you," she whispered one morning, her hand trembling as she touched my cheek. "Or maybe it has remembered you." On the 7th night, a strange stillness fell over the village. The power failed completely. No radios, no humming refrigerators, no lights. Just the flickering flames of candles trembling in their glass cups. And then, the whistle returned. It was different this time, patient, certain. It stopped directly at our front gate. I heard the metal latch lift slowly, as if by an invisible hand. And then I felt it, a presence so powerful it was like a physical weight in the air. It breathed my name without using a voice. Against every warning, against every instinct for survival, I stepped outside. The night was absolute. As I walked towards the fields, the tall stalks of corn parted before me, creating a narrow path. As if someone unseen was leading the way, at the very center of the field, a figure stood wrapped in darkness. Its eyes weren't solid. They reflected the moonlight like a river at midnight. When it spoke, the sound was half wind, half human, a voice that seemed to come from the earth itself. "You left us," it said. And just like that, a flood of memories that were not my own rushed through me. Running on 4 powerful legs, the smell of rain on thick fur, the smoky taste of offerings left at ancient shrines long forgotten. In that moment, I understood what the elders meant. The Nahual is not a monster. It's a door to a part of yourself you never knew existed. My grandmother found me at dawn, fast asleep beside the well. My shoes were caked with a strange dark soil from a place no one in the village recognized. She didn't ask questions. She just tied a simple red thread around my wrist and burned copal incense until the whole house smelled of old temples and prayer. The whistle stopped after that night. I returned to the city, to the noise of buses and the hard lines of concrete, and I tried my best to pretend the world was simple again. But some nights, when the moon is full and wide and the wind whispers through the tall grass in the park, I hear it. A familiar call, riding the dark air. It's not threatening. It's not kind, it's just waiting. My grandmother says the bond never truly breaks, it only sleeps. And sometimes when I'm walking home late after midnight, I catch a glimpse of my shadow out of the corner of my eye. It seems to reach the corner just before I do, walking on all fours, as patient as the fields that still remember my name. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to follow for more.